Hey, how's it going, everybody? Lawler here. As always, we've got an RLCS roster update for you guys, and a lot more than I expected. As always, if you guys are trying to stay up to date on all things Rocket League related, easiest way to do so is drop a sub down below, turn on notifications, or stop by any of the socials in the description down below. It makes it really easy. Anytime YouTube videos get posted in the Discord, it pops up. Anytime you guys want to see something, it's usually on Twitter. Those socials are a very easy way to stay up to date. That being said, the other option in the description, as always, is my roster document. I try to update this as frequently as possible. If you guys actually come over to the Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Lawler, we usually update this live while talking openly and having just kind of a back and forth with everybody in chat. And then we give you guys the super quick Spark Notes version of it in a YouTube video. So again, this document's your best thing. We try to update it as quickly as we can, and we go from there. So first news of the day, we're going to start with some old ones. It's going to be one that we've already kind of alluded to. We've been talking primarily about the rumors that were coming with Cheese no longer with Gen G, as they are looking for Rise potentially to round out their roster. But the rumors were Cheese, Sosa, and Frosty, and the only way that was possible is if an organization came in and paid the buyout, as Cheese is a restricted free agent, still under contract, still needing a portion of his previous salary to be recouped in order for him to get out of that contract. A lot of people kind of see the Foot Esports name, and realistically, if you're talking just from like a business perspective, Foot did the right thing. Foot said, hey, we want our Foot in the door, and being able to go to every single major and have our name recognized as one of the premier esports also gets us into the Esports World Cup. For business reasons, it makes a lot of sense. What doesn't make sense is associating with players that have not been well received by the public due to their actions. They've kind of taken the villain role, and because of that, anybody who sees the organization Foot goes, ew, icky, I don't like it. Reality is, though, that Foot is doing what is best for the business, because at the end of the day, they are in a business. They are trying to make money, and the best way to do that is by investing in a cheap team that is guaranteed to go to a major. So that being said, this will be a big transition for them. If they do end up picking Cheese, former Gen G, Sosa, former of Virtus Pro, and Frosty, former of Complexity. I do not know what this dynamic would look like. I do not know how this team would feel, but it will be interesting. Ultimately, you got to understand, Sosa, people may not be high in his stocks, but he did make multiple majors. He did go to the World Championship. He did prove that he can compete at international competition. He did beat Shopify when that time came. So interesting things to be. Obviously, the comments is everybody being like, hey, lies, blah, blah, blah. No player in the history is going to admit, like, you totally got it right. You got the rumor and the speculation right. Yeah, we call that bait. Up next, we have one that I did not expect. I've had a lot of people asking me about this one all week long. Sad Jr. rumored to be the coach of Twisted Minds. And just overall, let's take a step back and look at Sad Jr.'s career as a coach. He's obviously been with multitude of different spaces, whether it be Cloud9 or what was the Ultimates team and vice versa. Space Station at one point. Like, Sad Jr.'s been around the block. Obviously, a lot of history, a lot of coaching experience. What doesn't equate to me is that you have 2/3 of his former team in First Killer and LJ sticking together without their coach. They're bringing in a new coach altogether in Violent Panda, rumored to be, or not rumored, that's official with Shopify now. So Violent Panda is no longer with Dignitas. He is not taking any of the former Dignitas players over to the new team, but is still coaching that team, even though 2/3 of that team could still have their former coach. I don't know what happened behind the scenes. I don't know how those conversations went down, but I do find it very surprising that if 2/3 of the team who found some high highs and some low lows aren't willing to keep the coach that was familiar with them, let alone for an org that is based in Canada. It's very interesting. Like, it would be a local talent for Shopify. It's like, if financially it makes sense, familiarity it makes sense. I'm very surprised by that. So for them to go and do some crazy buyout, they pick up Kofor, like, it is a very interesting thing. And maybe that is what First Killer needs. Maybe they just need a clean slate, new coach, new mentality, new players, no affiliations. Let's just start from scratch and figure it out. Curious to see how that went down. Then on the other side, you're now taking Sad Jr., and he's joining 2 Saudis and a Frenchie. I don't know how this conversation came to be. I don't know what happened, but what I will say is a lot of times at world championships, at majors, roster moves are being made before the tournament's even over. A lot of the times, maybe there was a conversation being had where, like, you know what, Ultimates didn't have the best results. They're like, you know, we probably are going to go our own different ways. And because of that, we're all free to kind of go talk and mingle and see what's going on. Those conversations happen whether you're under contract or not. People chat. So very interested to see on where this ends up. But yeah, Sad Jr., potentially the coach of Twisted Minds, Monkey Moon, Nobu, and TRK. Pretty exciting stuff if you're a coach. That's a lot of talent to work with. Congrats to Sad. No longer Sad Jr., Happy Jr. on his way. Up next, Gentlemates have officially confirmed that they are releasing their team. This has been rumored for a while. Obviously, all these players and coach included in Eversax all kind of going their separate ways. Juicy likely to go and join the KC lads. Seiko we'll be talking about in just a second here with confirmation, and then Eugen rumored with Radosin and others. So unfortunate for Mates on that regard, but they do have a new roster that they've been eyeing up that's been rumored. If you guys haven't checked that out, obviously part of the reason to check the roster document in the description or watch the previous videos. We have talked about it at length. So very exciting to see on that one. This just adds confirmation that the moves are likely to happen. It does add validity to it. On top of that, then, we do get some news from South America. We were wondering what was going to happen with Furia. We expected them to make a change after the results were not there and Team Secret kept getting better. Obviously, Yan and Lost, probably the two best in the region. What do you do to pair with that? They decide, hey, Jorfinho, you're out. Let's bring in Swift. That is the play. Because of that, it does leave an empty spot, so it looks like it's a little bit of a handshake agreement, a little bit of firm handshakes between the two teams, and they go, okay, you take Jorfinho, we get Swift, you get the opposite. No different than what we saw with, like, Justin and everything go down with the Genji trade with Shopify. So, no difference there. As expected, I don't foresee them trying to do anything otherwise crazy. Maybe you see Team Secret approach MIBR and try to pull one of the players from that, but I just don't expect that to happen, especially with buyouts and everything else going on. So Team Secret was pretty frustrated that they were not part of the marketing program, and they did not have a decal in game. So financially, I don't know how much they're trying to invest in a new roster. I think they're just trying to do what's financially what makes sense. And if they could just say, hey, no buyout, firm handshake, let's do that. Up next, we do have conversations and rumors coming from Shift that Nico and Juke from the Team BDS roster are looking to add a Chronic. Obviously, you guys know him from his results from Team Liquid way back, but has tried out and played with a multitude of different teams, but has never really been able to get back to that peak or never been really given the opportunity to play for another top tier roster. Is that due to the overwhelming amount of Frenchies that dominate the EU scene? Is that due to the English kind of being stuck in their ways of what they want? But a Chronic just hasn't really made it back to that top tier since the Liquid days. It just hasn't happened. Now, Nico, I do think is kind of next up. Very, very talented. Juke's also very good and part of that conversation. So I do think maybe a little bit of veteran experience. My only concerns, if this ends up being true, just kidding, we don't have to worry about it being true. It is guaranteed. Chronic, literally 40 minutes after that post went out, decided to be like, yep, we're just going to announce it. Nico, Juke, and a Chronic. This is the team. This is what's happening. We are looking for a coach, so they are trying out coaches, and they are looking for an organization. With them looking for an organization, 2/3 of this roster was under BDS. So BDS likely, if I had to guess, probably not going to be in the RLCS moving forward. Based upon the way that they've operated financially, I think they're probably going to take a step back again. I think they wanted to pick up the new up-and-coming roster. They were hoping for a huge diamond in the rough situation. They made majors. Life was good for cheap. But because that didn't work out, they're probably going to count their losses and just take a step back. That's my guess. Maybe they surprise us and pick up one of the 1,000 teams that I have on my document that are all potential. Any one of these. Maybe they go pick up Yoris, Oli, and CRR or something. Who knows? There's a really good opportunity. We'll see what ends up happening. But they are looking for a coach. It'll be interesting to see on how it plays out. I do not know what is going to happen in that. We were talking earlier before we actually, right before we started this video, we talked about LAWL. If you guys have not watched the Nobu documentary for Twisted Minds, where they lose early in the tournament at the World Championship, and then he goes and does his 1v1, the video is kind of cut in two parts. The first half of that video is very much so focused on LAWL and his coaching. And I very much so commend the way that he handled the approach to talking with the players, because respect is earned. It's not given. And very much so the way that he articulates and talks to the players, holds them accountable, calls them on their shit. Like, I have nothing but admiration and respect for the way he handles himself. So maybe Blau tries out with his team, but it also depends on what his personal interests are. But W Blau, curious to see where he ends up. Maybe this is an opportunity for him to try and coach. We'll see what ends up going down. But Nico and Juke and Acronic should be interesting. It's going to be on Acronic to really take that veteran presence and steer these guys in the right direction. But I've heard back and forth about Acronic's intent and his desire to play the game a bunch. Maybe that changes. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Last but certainly not least, GK does confirm the rumors. We have officially locked in one of our teams for the RLCS in 2026 in EU, and it is going to be Joyo, Jack, and Seiko. This team in particular, I don't know quite how to put my finger on it. There is tons of talent. We have seen what Seiko can do. We have seen what Joyo can do. We have seen what Jack can do. We know all these players are purely talented. We know that they all have the capabilities. I assume Jack is going to take an approach to enable and set up Joyo. Seiko is going to lock down the back line and then use his mechanics to put him away. That's just what I notice on paper, but ultimately I have no idea what these three players together are going to look like, nor did I expect these three players to team up going into this season. Very excited to watch this one develop. All three players very well liked. I don't foresee why this will not be a crowd favorite. I expect GK stocks to go flying up. Ixo staying as their coach as well. No changes there. So that isn't a confirmation. That is an official one. That is what we've got for our roster news for the day. If you guys do have any additional questions, comments, concerns, let me know in the comments down below. Stop by the stream, hit me up on the Discord, whatever you guys got to do. But that is going to do it for today's video. As always, appreciate you guys all tuning in. Roster document in the description if you want to stay up to date. But I'm out of here. Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.